TV studios. We just played early morning, and I'm just hanging out here, and I thought maybe I'd play this song, or I'll kind of talk about the song I just played on TV there, and maybe just talk about how it was kind of put together. For me, it did start as a guitar part, which was this finger picking thing. I don't use picks, I just use my fingers, which means that my nails get a bit beat up and my thumb gets a bit calloused. But I like to feel them right on my fingers. It's just the way I work. I have used finger picks before, and I kind of have tried using a flat pick, and nothing's really worked. So this has kind of been my technique for the last few years. And it just gives me a bit of, for me, the key, and I do a lot of solo stuff, so it's really important for me to get as much out of my guitar as I can. And in a solo context, finger styles allows me to have a rhythmic element, a bass element, and a melodic element. And for this one, it did come out of a finger picking kind of melody, which was just like this. It went. So that's pretty much it, right? And what was interesting about it for me, from a melodic standpoint, is it had these two elements. It had an ascending line, and it had this counter melody. And of course, what becomes the challenge at that point is to write a melody in words that fit. You really want words that don't strain the melody in any way, but still rhyme and feel good and have meaning. And so I spent a lot of time on this song, making sure that it all worked. And sometimes it just feels like lyrics kind of come out of nowhere, and then you have to, the challenge is editing them and making sure that they, it might be a loose idea at first, and then making sure that it's tight and actually is meaningful and everything else. So that's how it kind of came together. So it's, of all the ways to get things done, why'd we choose the hardest one? Of all the things that we could say, choose our words that way. It's gonna be a long, dark night. We've done things wrong, now it's time to make them right. So the thing I liked about the song was that you had this thing, the guitar part allowed you to have this other melody that could go underneath the vocal melody. So when I go, of all the ways to get things done, and it gives you a bit of a more melodic activity than you might have if you're just strumming through, and that's kind of what I found interesting. And then from there you kind of then you add instruments and you figure out how you're going to complement all those little elements. And thankfully this morning I had guys like Kevin Fox and Alan Jeffries who I play with, and Josh and Pico, and these guys that are great musicians and are sensitive to, because it's generally a pretty quiet vibe, and so it's about kind of listening and being subtle, and those guys just got it beautifully, so it was a blast.